everybody really was like, we're Panthers, okay? So, yes.
It's in Alabama and it's LOWN.
Okay, it's in Alabama, Lowe's County, Alabama.
Okay,
So, Betty Shabazz was due to come in town. She got a guy named Kenny Freeman and a group, a small group that he had that were supposed to provide security for Betty Shabazz. So Kenny Freeman and his group came over to Oakland. They were from, I think, Sacramento or San Francisco.
Yeah, San Francisco.
And they came over to Oakland and they met with Huey and they explained to him, listen, we got Betty Shabazz, we need to provide security for her and all of this. Okay, now, Huey had already been to the Capitol building with the guns. Okay, remember Malcolm was murdered in 65. Okay, in late 65, 66 the party started. So immediately when they started the party, right after Malcolm's assassination, they were seriously upset. They went straight to the Capitol with the guns and they gave the executive mandate. An executive mandate basically read, we're not going to take this anymore. If anybody tries to brutalize our people, we'll brutalize you back. If anybody tries to disarm us, we'll shoot you. This is what was said on the steps of the Capitol building. Okay, so now the Panther is a big deal in the media. Okay, so it's like booming. Okay, so, you know, everybody's doing it. Huey's fine with it. Huey didn't make it up. Okay, everybody's Panther, it's fine. But Kenny Freeman and his group went along, or Huey and his group went along with Kenny Freeman and his group, and they went to do the security for Betty Shabazz. Again, the Panthers had major recognition for being a group, excuse my language, a badass group that you didn't want to mess with. Okay, so they had that reputation already. So they surrounded Betty Shabazz and they're on their way inside the building. Obviously, the authorities had a problem with that, what was going on at the time. So the authorities approached the group, saw the group was fully armed, and demanded that the group disarm themselves. Well, Kenny Freeman and his group did disarm themselves. They laid their guns down. Huey and his group refused. They got Sister Betty Shabazz into the building, they closed the door, and they told the authorities, you pigs are not coming in this building. You try to take my guns, I'm going to shoot you, pig. This is when Eldridge Cleaver joined the party. Eldridge Cleaver saw this. He was a reporter for Ramparts. He saw this and he said it just inspired him. And he said the amount of times that Huey called the police officer a pig and pointed in his face is what made him join the party. As many times as he called him a pig and pointed in his face. So that was kind of the fervor that Huey displayed. Now, when the police officer, one police officer in particular, got brave and went for his gun, Huey cocked his. He had a shotgun, okay? The police officer went for his gun and Huey cocked his. And he said, sooner than you can get it out of that holster, you'll be dead in the ground, pig. And the police officer backed up, okay? No charges were filed. This was a major event. Okay, so when they got back to the headquarters, Huey was hot. The rest of the Panthers felt like, yo, we had a serious victory here today. We fulfilled our purpose. Today was a good day. Peace. Peace.
Peace.
Peace. How you? You come in, brother.
Have a seat.
You're welcome. All right. So Huey was hot. The brother said, man, we defended Betty Shabazz, man. You know, we did it. Huey was hot. He said, we could have got killed out there. You know, we depended on these guys to watch our flank. Good thing we got military, a guy named Mark Comfort, who was a serious military dude at the time. And he kind of, you know, arranged for Betty Shabazz to stay protected, despite the fact that these guys left her flank. And he said if it wasn't for Mark Comfort, we could have been iced, everybody. Betty Shabazz, everybody. He said, I don't care nothing about us. We was watching basically the queen of the revolution right now. So he had a serious problem with that. So what the brothers did was, they went over to see Kenny Freeman and his boys. And Kenny Freeman and his boys happened to be barbecuing at the time. To give you an idea of the level of how not serious these guys were, how much of a game they thought this was. You understand what I'm saying? That they were at a barbecue, you know. So Huey ran down on them basically, and from most of the Panther accounts, he did pull a weapon out on them. Some people say he pistol whipped them. Some people say he yoked them up, put them on the, you know. But the consensus is that he did pull a weapon out on them, and that he threatened them physically, okay, on Kenny Freeman, and explained there at the particular barbecue with a whole bunch of cultural nationalists and all these other kind of, you know, supposed to be Black Power type people. The the consensus, again, it's a lot of variations of the story, but consensus is that Huey pretty much hushed the whole barbecue up. He quieted everybody down, everybody was shaking in their boots. And he basically intimidated everybody. And he said, listen, if you're going to wear the symbol of the panther, you cannot walk around. What happened was they didn't have bullets in their guns, was what he found out. They didn't have bullets in their guns.
This is why they laid them down.
Which is why they laid them down. So Huey said, if you're going to be a panther, you have to, this is where the term was born, you have to ride or die. And this is where the term was born. Much of the whole hip-hop culture comes from the revolution, but that's a whole other thing. Huey said, you have to ride or die, okay? And that's where the term ride or die was born, and they lived by that slogan after that, okay? Now, it got back down to Stokely that Huey was bullying people, that he was a thug, he was a gangster, he was extorting people, and that if people wasn't down with him, he was killing them because of the ride or die thing. You know what I mean? So it kind of got mixed up throughout, and judging by Stokely's autobiography, it seems like Stokely kind of bought it too. That, you know, Huey was his thug and that he did it all the wrong way. But if you hear Bobby Seale tell it and you hear David Hilliard tell it, man, it's no other way. It's no other way. Like, these guys were going to clown the name to the point where it wouldn't have been taken seriously. Now, even though it's infamous, it's at least taken seriously. You know, and I think Huey did a great service to the symbol, to the people, you know, when he did that, when he made it exclusive to those who would ride or die. You know, I would not wear this button if that attitude had not been taken at that time. So that was that. So that's how the name became exclusive to Huey P. Newton, Bobby Seale, Lil Bobby Hutton, and the rest of the Black Panther Party for self-defense as we know it. Now, there are a whole lot of notions about bank robberies, about the blowing up of buildings, about the raping of women, about drug use, about the selling of narcotics, all these things associated with the Black Panther Party for self-defense.
Of course.
Yes. Absolutely. You want to talk about America? You want to talk about the Christian church? Rape, violence, drug use. You know what I mean?
Hypocrites.
There is elements, anything that gets, and what I mean to say is, because I love my country, I consider myself a patriot. And I don't mean that that's what America is about, but that's my point. There's so many facets of this country. There's so many facets of any religion, any group of people. When something stretches across all 50 states, there's no way to regulate the behavior of every single person. There's just no way to do that, okay? There are people who rape people, who sell drugs, who blow up buildings, okay, who rob banks, who call themselves American, who call themselves Christians, who call themselves Muslims, who call themselves Jews, who call themselves policemen, who call themselves judges, politicians, Democrats, Republicans, okay? So, yes, all of these things were associated with the Black Panther Party. Two things. One is what we just mentioned, and the other thing is the fact that there was an organization, there was an entity within the government that was a descendant of something called the King Alfred Plan. Okay? The King Alfred Plan was a memorandum that was sent through all of the government agencies in the mid-1920s. And
what is that paper right there?
It's my spot.
Do you still need that?
Oh, you need something to write on?
Yes.
You got something for him right on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
So,
King Alfred Plan, right?
Yeah, the King Alfred Plan. Okay, so what the King Alfred Plan was it was titled "Fears of a Negro Insurrection." Was the title? Was the tagline? Fears of a Negro Insurrection, and the idea was that Negroes in this country were getting upset about their treatment, and that there was going to rise, even in this document, the King Alfred Plan, the memo that was sent out, a black messiah. Okay? Well, after desegregation, and there became more black government officials and, you know, police agency officials and things like that, it kind of got switched over to what's called the counterintelligence program. And the counterintelligence program, or COINTELPRO,